Experience the future of packaging and processing up close and in action. Explore groundbreaking innovations, engage with hands-on solutions, and connect with the experts transforming the industry. See how these advancements can revolutionize your products, production lines, and business. It all starts here. Don't miss out. Register today at packexpolasvegas.com/unpackedpod. You're listening to Unpacked with PMMI, where we share the latest packaging and processing industry insights, research, and innovations to help you advance your business. Hi, and welcome to another edition of Unpacked with PMMI. I'm your host, Sean Riley. Today we're talking with PMMI Media Group Vice President of Content, Jim Curzan, about a topic that has everyone excited in the packaging and processing industry. In just a few short weeks, Pack Expo Connects is going to combine the power of PMMI Media Group and the Pack Expo brand to connect the industry like never before. With over 650 solutions providers featuring interactive virtual showrooms, attendees can foster connections via live chats, live product demos, and a robust educational lineup. With that, let's get right into the conversation with our friend Jim Curzan. So today we're very happy to welcome who would now be our most frequent pod guest, Jim Curzan, Vice President of Content over at PMMI Media Group. Welcome back, Jim.
Thank you, Sean. It is nice to be back. What a dubious distinction that I've been interviewed by you the most.
Well, someone's got to be, number one. And right now you are, I guess it's 3 or 4 times and you're in the lead. So you'll maintain your title. So on to all things Pack Expo Connects. Over this 5-6 months, we've seen a slew of virtual events. What's going to set this apart in terms of I'm going into a virtual showroom? What am I going to see that's going to be any different than that? What's the interaction that's different? What's the platform providing me?
Right. So there's certainly no virtual avatars walking down an aisle. And so
Right.
it really is where now we've had almost 700 exhibitors reserve over 2,000 demo times. And the demos, I believe, go from 10 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And there's new demos every 15 minutes. And by registering for the show, you get to go into your own show planner like you normally would with Map Your Show and schedule, I want to see this case packer at 11 and this cartoner at 12. And the amazing thing is that normally, if you look at a large CPG, they can afford to send a team to Pack Expo, but they're still looking at airfare and hotels. This event, they can literally go to engineering, operations, maintenance, and they can all come in to these virtual demos and discuss things, chat with engineers about capabilities. And so we think it's going to be as close to trade show commerce that you can, but the fact that it's bigger now than just who would come to Chicago. You could literally work new people on your team or these cross-functional teams that they develop and visit and chat and participate. So we're excited about that platform being done and set up for the actual show itself.
Right. So that's interesting that I guess that's probably something that kind of gets lost in all this. It's always the negative of you can't go to the show in person. And but what it does do is opens opportunities, like you said, for if you're a small company, you might be able to send the owner for a day and,
Yep.
or he has to go and come back. You're not sending, your entire team, whereas now they can all kind of get together and go through and find. So for a small to mid-sized company, this is going to be great in terms of offering solutions that maybe only the larger companies could afford to send huge teams for.
Yes, I think so. And I also think that there's an international component that we might not normally have, where your Asian team or your European team can also tune in. And I know that some of the vendors have demos scheduled in U.S. Central Time hours, but so that they can incorporate some of their international teams.
Right. Okay. So you mentioned education. So we have events throughout our Pack Expos with, like breakfast in the morning or something at lunchtime, or innovation stage sessions throughout the day that people stop in and sit down at. So did you just go out and try to find keynote speakers? Tell me, walk me through how that played out.
Yeah. So it's interesting because once you switch gears and say, hey, we're not having the physical show, we're having a virtual show, you're still kind of stuck into hey, let's find a 45-minute keynote person. And we started thinking about it. And, you're at home now on your computer, maybe in the plant, the office, but you can go make yourself scrambled eggs. You could take the dog for a walk. You could go homeschool the kids in the basement. We probably weren't going to be in a ballroom with breakfast listening for 45 minutes to someone. And so we sat down and put our thoughts together, and we decided that firstly, in the morning, we needed a really exciting news program that would last an hour, welcome everybody in, get them a chance to get, acclimated to where the demos are and everything when the show opened at 10. And we decided to come up with this Jumpstart morning show where all of our editors, Joyce Fassel, Pro Food World, Stephanie Neal from OEM, Dave Greenfield from Automation World, Matt Reynolds, Packaging World, Karen Sukney, Healthcare. We each decided let's come up with a theme every day, and then let's come up with segments that took this theme through a day. And Monday is sustainability, but it's not just sustainable packaging, it's sustainable plants and processing. Tuesday is workforce development and all things kind of human, if you will. Wednesday, robots, the robotic revolution. Thursday, all things remote, because of so much of what the virus has done is leading to factory acceptance tests being remote and remote diagnostics. There's a whole hour dedicated to that. And then finally, Friday is potpourri. We're going from e-commerce through emerging brands to contract packaging, look at pharma and med device. And so we were really happy with everybody's participation, and CPGs started reaching out. Annie's Organics, Pat Keenan, who's on our editorial advisory board, said, we want to get involved, and we can get some General Mills people on your remote day, or we can get one of our human resources people involved on Tuesday. Bush Brothers, Robbie Martin from Bush Brothers called, and he said he wanted to participate. And it was great that so many people kind of lined up. It's harder. You're usually recruiting these people for 45-minute sessions. And for instance, on Tuesday for the Packaging and Processing Women's Leadership Network, we had Bumblebee's CEO, Jan Tharp, ready to go. And we were kind of afraid to tell her, Jan, we promised you 45 minutes, but her marketing team came back and said, that's way too much for a talking head on a screen. Let's start with a Bumblebee segment and then go into an interview segment and go through videos we prepared. And it really shaped up, except that we were still all separate segments for the 5 days. And that's when we came up with the genius of nominating Sean Riley to be our anchorman and introduce every day and take us through all the segments. And then we were able to look at our alignment with PMMI. Where should we talk about business intelligence? Where should we talk about operational excellence? Where can we work in charitable things like blessings in a backpack? All these different things have now been scheduled into segments. And so we are literally working Sunday mornings and staying up late together, getting the editing done. But the real crowning achievement is we have never had Amazon participate in our educational program before. And Kim Houchins, their director of consumer packaging experience, put her hand up and say, hey, Amazon would like to participate. And one of the reasons was because we decided that because it's all virtual, hey, let's rebroadcast our Jumpstart show at 11 p.m. for Asian readers. And let's rebroadcast at 4 a.m. for Europe. And then our Mundo brand down in Mexico with our editor, Lillian Raballo, everything is going to have closed captions for accessibility. And Lillian's going to translate it into Spanish. And Kim was super excited about really taking an Amazon message about where they're going in the future and broadcasting it to the world, basically, through PMMI. So very fortunate to have her on board. And as I said, kind of our crowning achievement with at least the Morning Jumpstart program.
Right. Let me interrupt there then, because we're kind of buried the lead with, a company like Amazon participating in this.
Yes.
Why? What was their thinking? What was their reasoning for why this would be the one?
Yeah, Kim normally travels the world with her message, and there's not a lot of places she can go now. There was a crowd size requirement for events and things like that, and she realized, like we did, it's not business as usual anymore. And so through talking with her, she was like, I am interested. And of course, Amazon has layers and layers and layers of approvals and what you can say and what you can't say. But basically, she wants to talk about preparing your products for the future of e-commerce shipping. And we're really excited to have her kick the whole thing off at, I think it's 8:30 in the morning Central Time, Monday.
So that's new. We know we got that. Yes, I was humbled to be chosen and to be a part of it. It is a very ambitious project, to say the least. But what about all the other things that we usually have education-wise? I mean, you mentioned that the Packaging and Processing Women's Leadership Network's tied in there. How about our innovation stages and our solutions rooms and things like that?
Yeah, so there's so many things we do from the content end, but then there's all kinds of content that PMMI usually handles. And I don't know how many innovation stages happen live at McCormick Place, but they've booked 48 innovation stages in 5 days, which are incredible. And
Wow.
we also have the solutions room. When it was live in Philly, it was the forum. That's a much less formal kind of place to meet. And I know Brian's lining up all kinds of speakers for related to OPEX and OMAC and things like that. And so we decided we wanted to have some from PMG's perspective. Perhaps not everything was covered in the morning jumpstart. So we started to look at afternoon trend chats. And these would be niche, and we're doing one on Monday for cannabis packaging. Not everybody's interested, but the people who are really interested. There's a trend chat on food processing innovation. Joyce Fassel is going to talk to some of her award winners for manufacturing innovation. I know there's a trend chat with Pat Reynolds on digital printing. The week before, and the show is the 9th to the 13th of November, should make that clear. We're getting people a chance to experience the platform, register for different demos, set up meetings kind of thing. And
Yeah. It's the preview week. It's November 2nd through the 6th, and attendees are going to have the opportunity to poke around and browse and here's a product I'm going to want to ask more about later. I'm going to add this demo in, or here's an innovation stage session that I'm going to want to add to my MyConnects planner. That MyConnects planner is going to be where they're going to put in all their, I need to stop at this, I need to see this, and it's going to sync with their Outlook calendar, so they get a ding telling them that they scheduled this live demo that they were going to attend. So it's really a great thing to have to kind of walk everyone through before the actual event starts the following week.
Because everybody does realize this has never been done before, and the outpouring from exhibitors and how they're planning their demos and the things they're doing has been just fabulous. And we're having people register already, which we didn't think would be happening for a virtual event. They are coming in and registering. And selfishly, as the vice president of content, I'm looking at there's 48 innovation stages. Which ones are getting the most registration? And does that point me in a direction for what our magazine should be covering in the next year? So that's one of the things we can use kind of as a litmus test of what's drawing interest from CPGs, which is kind of fascinating. And we wouldn't necessarily get to see that in real time as the registrations come in normally. So it's been quite an undertaking. It's remarkable the way that the members of the association came around after, some wanted to continue on in Chicago. And I think folks in Herndon realized that even if they wanted to, what Governor Pritzker or the virus was going to do here was going to be uncontrollable. And so let's, start early trying to come up with an idea. So we're trying our best to work through all the systems and go through everything and make sure that it's all systems go. And I think that preview week is really going to help too.
Yeah, and it's going to have the things that people are used to seeing at the show as well. It's going to have, the virtual PMMI showroom where you can go in and engage with the team on things about PMMI, about membership, about education, about the OPEX leadership group, about the PMMI media group. And then future show sales when we can get back together in person, for Las Vegas next year, hopefully with this behind us, and start to move forward from there. It's going to have all the features that people have come to expect from Pack Expo.
Yes, and I think projecting into the future, which is incredibly hard to do these days, is I would imagine there's always going to be a virtual component of the show now that people, again, from Asia or Europe or whatever, who want to attend some of these things, and we'll make that happen just the same. So but it's been just unprecedented cooperation where more than ever now, we feel like one team, bringing the show to our members for their benefit, but also to all our usual attendees and readers of the magazines and visitors to the websites, recipients of newsletters. We've been taking virtual demos and some of the social media from our segments in the Jumpstart program and planting them everywhere in all our website and all our newsletters. So everyone knows that this virtual show, Pack Expo Connect, is coming in November 9th. And we're getting close now. But what a project to be involved in. It's just been, every person I've talked with said, yes, it's been crazy, but what an interesting thing to be working on this year. And that's very gratifying for us.
That's great to hear. And I'm glad that you and I were able to cooperate on this and take some time out of the day that you are working on all these different things so that we could kind of bring the potential attendees and exhibitors up to speed on some of the things that we're going to be offering at Pack Expo Connect. So again, thank you very much for coming on here with us, Jim.
Mr. Riley, thank you very much and have a great rest of your day.
I will, Jim. Thanks. Now I want all of our listeners, or those who haven't already, to head over to packexpoconnects.com and register for free for Pack Expo Connects November 9th through the 13th. Please rate, review, and subscribe. To do that, go to the iTunes podcast or Spotify app on your phone and search for Unpacked with PMMI.